Welcome to the Autism ADHD podcast. It's the place to be for neurodiversity affirming parents and professionals. I'm your host, Holly Blanc-Moses, the mom neurodivergent therapist. Here we chat about emotional regulation, mental health, social support, executive functioning, learning, and more, all aimed at empowering us to support kids and teens with compassion and understanding. I'm thrilled that you joined me today, and I've got some pretty exciting news to share with you. For those rock star therapists listening right now, I've created continuing education training that is tailor-made for you. Take a deep dive into cutting-edge strategies that you can start using today. The CEs you've wanted for so long are finally here. Go to hollyblancmoses.com/CE training and sign up. You are going to love it. The link is also available in the show notes. Now, if you are a parent or educator listening and you know a therapist or a psychologist that is passionate about supporting kids and teens, I greatly appreciate it if you could pass on this great news. Thanks so much again for your support, and let's get started. Welcome back to the Autism ADHD podcast. I am your host, Holly Blanc-Moses, and today I am telling on myself. It is Valentine's Day weekend, and I have a story that I'm excited to share with you. And it's a story about first grade, a shoebox, some coins, and what I believed was a pretty brilliant plan. And there are things about it I still appreciate today. Now, the adults did not agree with me. But here's the thing. The part that matters isn't really about Valentine's Day. It's about what happens when the adults in a child's life skip the curiosity and go straight to correction. And that's how it plays out for neurodivergent kids over and over again. So I'm going to take you back. You took an actual shoebox and you cut a slot at the top and you decorated that thing. Every kid in class had one. Then you get a packet of Valentines, usually something like a cartoon or superhero, and you'd write each classmate's name on each Valentine. You would walk around the room and drop them into the shoe boxes. Everyone got one. That was the deal. That was the rule. I want you to know that I took this, like most things, very seriously. Now, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you know that I have been fascinated by human behavior since I can remember, literally forever. This has been an interest of mine. I was watching people. I was trying to understand why they did what they did, why some people were kind and others were not, why the same person could be nice to me one day and then mean the next. That confusion was exhausting. It still can be sometimes. The night before the Valentine's Day party, while I was decorating my shoebox and writing out my Valentines, I had an idea because my brain is constantly filled with ideas. I was going to rank my classmates. Just stay with me. Stay with me here. I got out a piece of paper and I made a list of every single kid in my class. And then I ordered them based on one very important criteria: how nice they were to me. Because here's what I knew, even back then, social interactions were not easy for me. So when a classmate was consistently kind, that was not something I took for granted. That was something that meant a lot to me. And I wanted to find a way to show them my appreciation. After I ranked everyone in class, I created 4 categories. The quarter kids, and what I mean by that is like an actual quarter. And back in the 80s, early 80s, that was a lot of money. The quarter kids, these were the classmates who were genuinely, consistently kind to me. They would play with me when I asked them to. They were just nice. There were like 2 of them. They got a quarter. Now, the dime kids, these kids, they were nice sometimes. They'd play with me occasionally, but they're not going to come find me to play with me. Decent people, but they're not the quarter kids. So they got a dime, which is not bad. The nickel kids, now these kids were neutral, nice, not mean, just there. We existed around each other. They got a nickel. And then there were the penny kids. Oh, those penny kids. These kids were the confusing ones. Nice one day, not nice the next day. Warm sometimes and ignoring me like I didn't exist. And I want you to really hear this part. Not knowing what to expect is incredibly stressful. That unpredictability gave me so much anxiety. I didn't know from one day to the next how they were going to respond. Every day I was nervous because I didn't know what was going to happen. Then there was one classmate. I'm not going to use her name. We will just say she was my archenemy. I had what I would call a mutually understood conflict. She was not kind to me ever. And I was not mean to her, but I would not want to be around her because she was mean to me. She got nothing. No coin for her, not even a penny. She was the only one with no coins. Now, here is where I want to be really clear. I did follow the rules. I did. I was a major rule follower. Every child in class got a Valentine from me, just like what was required. Every single one of them. I just felt like the coin system would add some meaningful layer here. Again, I wanted the kids that were nicer to me to understand how I appreciated them. So I tiptoed downstairs to the kitchen. That's where we kept the coin jar. I was not allowed, I know I just said I was a rule follower. Wasn't really allowed to take money from the coin jar. And I want to be fully transparent about that because I did just this quick calculation, determine that my mission outweighed the risk here. I took out the coins, only the coins that I needed. I knew exactly how many I needed. And I carefully taped them inside the Valentines. I went to sleep. So it's Valentine's Day party time. Started out great. We took out our Valentines, went around the room, filling up each other's shoe boxes. We went back to our desks and opened the top of the shoe boxes. And I was watching for it. I was watching the quarter kids because I was so excited about how they were going to react. I wanted to see their faces when they had realized how important they were to me, that they had made this top tier. Now, what I did not anticipate was how fast the information would spread across our classroom. It did not take long before kids were comparing. Oh, you got a quarter? I only got a dime. Oh, wait a minute. I got a nickel. Why did she get a dime and I only got a nickel? Then my archenemy. Okay. And I say that with some dramatic flair, but also accuracy. She realized she was the only kid in the entire class who did not get a coin, not a quarter, not a penny, nothing. Let's just say the Valentine's Day party became more eventful than my teacher had planned. My teacher was not happy with me. She told me it was not nice to give some classmates more money than others. She said it was not fair. Here's when things went a bit sideways. That I think a lot of neurodivergent kids will recognize this immediately. I try to explain, right? I thought, well, if I try to explain to her, surely she'll get it. I told her that I thought it was actually quite fair. I had been thoughtful about the categories. I had specific reasons for each placement. I was even willing to walk her through examples of my actual interactions with classmates so she could understand where I was coming from. She was not interested. She just cut me off. She just kept repeating, it wasn't nice. Then she said, I should have thought about how it would hurt my classmates' feelings. Because I just turned 7 and I had no filter and I meant every word of it. I said, maybe my archenemy shouldn't have been so mean because she still could have made it into the penny category. My teacher called my dad. Yeah. My dad, for his part, he didn't really care too much about my Valentine's Day party situation. He probably even thought it was funny. He didn't tell me that. But he was not okay that I had taken coins without permission from the coin jar in the kitchen. I explained that I hadn't asked because I already knew the answer. It was going to be no. So asking him really did not make sense. Here's what I want you to sit with for a minute. Not one adult that day asked me why. Not one person kneeled down and said, Holly, what were you trying to do here? No one asked how I was feeling and why I categorized them the way I did. No one asked why I felt like certain kids weren't being nice to me. No one asked what it was like for me to figure out this friendship stuff. No one was at all curious about the reasons I made this plan. Instead, I was told I was being mean. I was told that I had hurt other people's feelings. I was shut down before I could explain anything. The message I walked away with, one more message in a long line of messages, was that my way of thinking was wrong, that I had done something bad, that my perspective was wrong, that my perspective didn't matter enough to be heard. I was not trying to hurt anyone. I really wasn't. I was trying, my reasoning, I was trying to show appreciation in my 7-year-old neurodivergent mind that was working very hard, working overtime to understand these social relationships. I had created a system that made sense to me. I was rewarding kindness. I was trying to show the kids who had been good to me that I noticed that it meant something. Was it the right way to go? Probably not. Did I think about it through every single angle? No, I didn't. But I did have a reason, a real reason. And I want to say something important here, especially for those of you listening who are parents. I wish that someone had kneeled down next to me that day and calmly said, Holly, I care about you. I care about what you think and how you feel. And I want to understand. Can you help me understand? That's it. That's all it would have taken. Instead of shutting down a child who was genuinely trying to navigate this complicated social world the only way she knew how. And I'm sharing this story not just because, again, it's Valentine's Day this weekend. It makes me laugh now. Like I'm teary, but I'm also laughing. And I'm sharing it because I see this pattern play out all of the time. A neurodivergent child does something that looks confusing or inappropriate or rude or hurtful from the outside. And the adults around them skip straight past understanding and they go directly to correction. They don't ask what was happening for the child. They don't ask what they were trying to do. They don't ask about their experience. They assume intent. They assume the worst. And they tell the child what they did wrong without ever trying to find out why. And what does that teach? What does that teach the child? It teaches them that their reasons don't matter, that their perspective is wrong before they're even heard, that the way their brains work is a problem, that they should just stop trying to explain themselves because no one's going to listen anyway. When you correct a child's actions before you understand it, you might be right about that action, that behavior being problematic, but you're missing the story. The story is what matters. And for a neurodivergent child who is already working so hard to figure out what on earth is happening around them, what is the expectation? Why am I always in trouble? Why are people always mad at me? Being dismissed without being heard does real damage. It does damage to their self-worth. It does damage in how they can even trust adults. It does damage to their willingness to keep trying to communicate what's happening inside of them. So I want to ask you, and I want you to sit with this for just a moment. How do you want to show up for the neurodivergent kids in your life? Because every single interaction is a choice. Every moment a child does something confusing or frustrating or embarrassing is a moment where you get to decide. Am I going to shut this down? Am I going to shut them down? Or am I going to be open to understanding? Do you want to be the person who blames first and ask questions never or rarely? Or do you want to be the person who stops and takes a breath, gets genuinely curious, and says, help me understand? Because I can tell you from the inside of that experience, as the kid who got shut down, as the therapist who now works with these kids, that curiosity is one of the most powerful things you can do to support a neurodivergent child. One of the most powerful things you can offer. It tells them that they matter, that their experience is real, that there is at least one person in the world who actually wants to understand them. Now, I also want to say this. If you have not always shown up that way, you are not alone. I catch myself in correction mode with my own kids before I've asked a single question. It happens. We are humans. Our nervous systems respond, and they respond fast, just like our kids. But here's the beautiful thing. There's going to be another moment, because there always is. And in that moment, you get to try again. So this Valentine's Day, whether you are a parent, a therapist, an educator, or a grandparent, consider this your invitation. Be open to understanding before you get corrective. Ask before you assume. Kneel down and say the words that would have meant everything to 7-year-old me. I care about what you think and how you feel. Help me understand. That's all. That's all it takes to change everything. Understanding is everything. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode touched you, resonated with you in some way, please share it with someone. It could be another parent, an educator, a therapist. I'll see you next time. Take care. If you found this podcast helpful, I greatly appreciate it if you could take a second to give it a 5-star review. With your positive feedback, I can continue bringing you free, valuable information. As an extra thanks to you for sticking around, there are special gifts waiting for you in the show notes. You'll find links to free resources on supporting neurodivergent kids and teens with social interaction, emotional regulation, and more. So come on down to the show notes and get your free resources. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
All content provided is protected under applicable copyright, patent, trademark, and other proprietary rights. All content is provided for informational and educational purposes only. No content is intended to be a substitute for professional medical or psychological diagnosis, advice, or treatment. Information provided does not create an agreement for service between Holly Blanc-Moses, Crossvine Clinical Group, the interviewee, Holly Blanc-Moses LLC, and the recipient. Consult your physician regarding the applicability of any opinions or recommendations with respect to your symptoms or medical condition, or the symptoms or medical condition of your family member. Children or adults who show signs of dangerous behavior toward themselves and/or others should be placed immediately under the care of a qualified professional.